do. Get to work. And I'll use that one page I was using. Hello, Captain. Let me get up the other references on this side. Hope you're doing all right. Actually, realistically, her tail would be elsewhere, but fuck it. Let's give the bun her tail. Felt like a fast day today. Excuse me. Yeah, it probably was. Today did kind of go a little quickly. Hold on, let me go grab a water bottle. I'll be right back. And I'm back. Water acquired. No, I am fine this time. this side a bit more. Good morning, Alex. And we can bump it up just a little bit more. Getting up at 4:30. I'm sorry. I think I'd do better at night. Obviously, if something changes, I'll stream at a different time. But I think night just works better for me. I mean, I've always been a night person anyway. Going to bed at 9:30. Yeah, but it's more about balancing out how much sleep you actually get before you have to go to work. If you're doing that on days where you have like the next day off or something, then maybe. But it's usually just to balance out, you know, you getting enough sleep for work and all that. So I wouldn't take it too harshly. It's better than what I had to do when I was working for Stereo D, where due to me living where I was living, I would basically work from, where was it? Oh no, actually this was when I was working at Legend, so I would have to get there by 9, but I was able to start work at 8:30. I wouldn't leave work till 10 p.m. and then it would take about 2 hours to get home. So I'd be home by about midnight. And then I would have to get up at like 4 or 5:30 just to make sure I could even beat the traffic in that direction. Yeah, I think yeah 4 or 5:30 because of where I was leaving from. So yeah, it would I would have to I would only get like a few hours of sleep, and I was doing that for like a month or two before I moved over there for a while. Because I think I would get home by like midnight or 1 o'clock, depending on traffic. Sometimes the traffic was good, other times it was shit. And is this how I want her boobs to be? Nah, because it looks like they're on some weird side. So yeah, just make her belly like this. Yeah, that's better. Make this boob a little bit bigger on this side. There we go. And I think we're good. What kind of marks are on our shirt? Look at the others. Ducky, whatever random thing that one. That was just a color. I'll probably do a text image on her chest. Yeah, look at the big bun. Ari the sketch. What does that mean? I'm being dumb at the moment. Brandon's like, what? Oh, yes. Look, Mom, it's a big ass bun. I see. Sorry, I haven't worked in an office in a while. And well, the closest thing to an office was the video editing jobs I had. But yes, what is your request? Still trying to cover from Viro's sad work schedule story. I mean, yeah. Kind of did that twice. Because my second job was pretty similar. Though I don't think it was as far. Although there was that one time I was coming home from work and I kind of like zoned out. And I ended up in like another city or another area. And at first I was like, shit, where am I? And then I realized where I was. I was like, oh, okay, this is where one of my friends lives. So I just turned around and went home. So that happened. Because I think I was just tired and I was on autopilot. And just kind of zoned out as I was driving. You see Blake's chin on the right. Is it possible to flatten that curve? Oh, shin. Flatten the curve under her foot. Or, blah. Okay. Oh, sorry, I have hair in my mouth. So her right one. So we're talking about this one because this is her right. Our right. Okay, that's what I figured. Hold on. Hold on a sec. I need to check something. Okay. So just straighten this part out. Oh, behind her shin. Okay. So talking like this. Or should I pull it in a little bit more? The back is fine. Alright, so I won't change this one. Clean that up a little bit. Alright, how's this? This look alright? Slight improvement? Does that mean there's something else that needs to be changed? It's fine, okay. And I think we're pretty much good. Let me just darken this a little bit more. Okay, I think we're good, so I can move on to coloring. And I can put words on her shirt after the fact. Okay. Should I move her down? Just a little. That way, whenever I put the background, it'll look like she's more in there. Okay, don't need this anymore. Open. Grab this one. Keep that one there. There we go. No problem. You think the cheeks could be chubbier? Let's see. Let me compare it to the other one. Yeah, they could be a little bit chubbier. She is from the side though, so not too much. And I want to save some of that for the next pick. You know, it might be better if I don't change it, because I think it's fine. Because I can always apply that to the next pick. Yeah, I think I'm gonna leave that alone. I could probably bring it up just a bit. Yeah, because I've been changing her face a little bit through each one because of how chubby she's getting. So I could probably change it just a little. But she'll definitely have chubbier cheeks in the next one. I watched the recent episode of The Simpsons, and the part with Skinner was interesting. Like I had a little bit of an issue of it because like Bart was acting like, wait, can Skinner cry and stuff like that? Like, is this okay? And I was sitting there going like, you've seen him been vulnerable before. This isn't anything new to you. And then because it was all about his security blanket being given away to like his cousin or something, and then the Bart and the students helped him get it back. And I was sitting there going like, wait, how can Skinner have that as when he was a child when he's not even Agnes's real son? And I was like, wait, that doesn't work if you know the lore of the characters. So I was like a minor wait a minute moment watching that. But yeah, it's definitely not as good as the older seasons. Like you can tell it's been the series has been worn down by this point. Like it wasn't awful, like the episode itself wasn't awful or anything, it's just not as funny. Okay, so I made her face just a little bit chubbier. Yeah, like this is the first time I've watched like an actual full episode of The Simpsons in like years, because I was just sitting there going like, you know what, let's see how much it's changed, or if it's changed at all. And I mean, it's not as bad as like how Family Guy has gotten when it comes to um exaggerating the characters and stuff like that. Like it's not as bad as Family Guy has gotten, but it's definitely not as funny. And then it's also trying to ignore either certain bits of lore or um, making characters crazier than they would be in certain situations. But other than that, I don't think the newer Simpsons is awful. It's just not as good as the older Simpsons. Like if I had nothing better to do and it was on, I would probably watch it. Family Guy, if it was in the same situation, I would probably attempt to find something to do before I resort to sitting down and watching it. But of course, that would depend on what episode is on and all that. Same for Simpsons. But ultimately, it wasn't awful. It was just like, it's not as funny as the older Simpsons. Because they were just like a more natural flow with the older episodes. Yeah, and like Marge and Lois kind of give me a similar feel. Because like they're both kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of like just more stern, I guess, like a little bit more aggressive. But that's kind of it. Like there's nothing more to them. If it was like older Lois and older Marge, like the older episodes, there's a little bit more to them. But this one, they just seem more aggressive, and that's kind of it. Yeah, I always love the rougher looks to a lot of shows. That's why I always just draw straight on. Like I try not, well, not try, but like this is just how I draw in general. But like I don't usually use like construction lines too often. Like I mostly just do it for certain parts of the body, but not the entirety. Because like you know how people will rough it out and then clean it up with like the lines and stuff like that, so it looks cleaner and stuff like that and more um, organized. Mine is just rough the entire time, and I just like the rough look in general. And it's probably just because I grew up with like Ren and Stimpy, Rocko's Modern Life, older Rugrats, stuff like that. So that's probably why I lean more towards it, or even like older Looney Tunes. So I think I'm just more used to that look, and even like older anime from like the '90s have that rough look. So I think I'm just used to that kind of stylization, and I like it. So, I would continue to do so. Like even older SpongeBob look good in the rough look. Watching South Park, yeah, it's been a while since I watched South Park, but it probably hasn't changed too much. It probably retains its same feel for the most part. Like aside from like maybe characters have slightly different voices because that's just gonna happen over the years. But aside from that and whatever change in plots and stuff like that that they might have tossed in, it probably is roughly the same. And South Park's been pretty good with consistency. as far as I remember. I mean, it's probably been a while. Do these parts of you first. I think the part that pulled me out of the newer episode of The Simpsons that I watched was um, not just the lore stuff, but just like how Lisa was reacting to her situation. Because basically they were on lockdown, and Lisa was just kind of losing her shit. And I'm sitting there going like, I thought she'd be more logical about this, because like she would know how these situations would go. At least I would assume so. But she was just kind of like folding over, thinking that because like I guess like because basically the whole town was being overrun by like a type of caterpillar, and so she was just not okay. And then she kept like going on her phone and looking up like random twitters that had to do with like conspiracies and rumors and stuff like that. So instead of operating by her usual logic, she was just going off of like assumptions and thinking that the whole system was gonna crumble due to caterpillars. And I was like, I don't think she would freak out this hard. But who knows? There's probably been a lot of stuff that's changed with her over the years that I'm probably not aware of. But I don't know. That was like the only other thing that threw me off. I was tripping out though with Marge's voice, but at the same time I was like, well, she's been doing this for like 35 years or 34, 35 years. She kind of cut her a break there. I think she's like in her the actress is like in her 60s now, so I shouldn't expect the voice to be all crisp and clean by this point, especially with how she has to like or she used to high pitch it back then. I don't know if she does that now, but yeah, she already had like a gruff voice as it was, so trying to keep that consistent for 30 years is gonna wear on you. Okay, so what kind of pants do I want to get? I want to get rid of green. Let's try a lighter green. Or try this. So I want to try doing green and red for the top, and then we'll put some words on it. Yeah, that's like another issue I have with certain shows like this, is that they always try to update it to be more modern, and it doesn't work if you've been watching the show since the beginning and you like retain all the information you've had. Because at that point it's just kind of throwing it out and just, you know, whatever episode is the current canon type of mentality. Because that's how the series Ruby has had issues where things that were established are slowly either being retconned or just ignored, and it doesn't make sense if you've paid any attention at all. Yeah, like honestly, I would just keep the history that they have. Like, yeah, they can update them with having more modern technology and stuff as times change, but you don't have to change the character's past. Like that just seems unnecessary. And granted, like this is assuming you don't age up the characters either, because that's like another point of contention is where if you give them all the modern stuff, but they've been around since like the 70s, then it's like how are the characters still the same age? So it's one of those things where it's one of those things where keeping them the same age is both a positive and a negative. Because the positive part is, you know, the characters stay who they are and they stay, you know, whatever time zone that they're in. But then the problem is that if you give them newer technology or just newer whatever, then it conflicts with where they came from. And you either explain that through some weird, bizarre lore, or you just ignore their ages, but like retain their history. So it's a head scratcher because that's what happens with long cartoons and TV shows and all that. Is like if the characters don't age, then how does any of this work? I would say the only cartoon I remember at the moment that explained this properly was Fairly Odd Parents, where you find out that Timmy made a secret wish for everybody to stay the same age for like decades, or at least a decade. I forget how long it actually was, but he made a wish to keep everyone at the same age, and he was slowly found, or he was found out. And I think it costed him his fairies for doing that. When I'm working on an alternate timeline character. Well, the difference is that this Blake, you know, will still age. She's not gonna just stay the same the entire time. And there's no long form thing with her, at least not right now. If that does happen, then I'll have to revisit this conversation. Yeah, like I don't have a problem with alternate timelines. Like if you were going to give Homer and Marge different backgrounds where they were in like where they were millennials, then sure, like you could just make an alternate universe of the Simpsons that operates on that history at that point. And that's perfectly fine. Like if anything, that might have been better if they had done that. Where it's like, okay, we're newer season or newer whatever. We're gonna have a slightly alternate version of the Simpsons that are just more modernized. Doesn't get rid of the original history of the other Simpsons, but here's a new one. And you could even have like a crossover episode or something between the two. And I don't know what you would do to show the differences of them, but you know, there are ways to do it. Because they definitely did it with the prototype version or the episode 0 versions of The Simpsons. So they've done that. So it's doable. It's just a matter of what you're willing to go through to make it happen. And I've already shown like a crossover between, you know, Big Blake and Mini Marcy and female Skylar with the others. With that one picture. And female Skylar was gonna beat the shit out of the other Skylar. Yeah, Family Guy did the same thing. Where they crossed over with their first episode selves. Or their pilot episode. So yeah, like, there are ways to go about it. It's just a matter of what are you willing to commit to? Are you going to commit to the history that you've made for the characters, or are you going to throw it all away, or are you going to make like an alternate timeline? Because they've done that with like Marvel and DC multiple times. What did I put a logo on Big Burgers? Let me take a look. Tiffany, what do we got? Yes, we did. Okay. We'll draw that in later. Good color choice and shifting blue. Yeah. Certain colors help out the characters and all that. And like in color theory, like red and yellow and orange also lean towards like putting the idea of hunger in your head. That's why a lot of fast food restaurants use those colors. So yeah, anytime you see like fast food places and they just have prominent red, yellow, and orange, it's to get you to want to get food. So yes, there is a psychology behind it. Yeah, I'm not sure what colors I'll give her for the next one though, since I'm already gone straight to red. Unless I change this to like orange or yellow and have the final pick be red. Or I can always just shift between the three. Like, they don't have to be in a particular order. But we'll see. I can always change it. Yeah, she's becoming big. Yeah. And can always just give her, like, whatever outfits I said to give her for the next ones. Because the next ones is when it starts going out of hand. Can always give her, like, messed up clothing or put her in some risque scenario. Although I probably wouldn't be able to stream it on Twitch if I did that one. I might do it for like the last pick. For the second to last, maybe. We'll see. It depends on where I go with it. I probably won't sketch it though on stream, just in case I decide to make it risque. Yeah, up to this pick is how Blake got fat. The last two pictures will be exaggerated nonsense. I was like, and that's how she got fat. Now, now let's throw all that out and make her huge. And then she just has like a container for her milkshake, since the normal sizes were too small. So we'll make this one like a probably like a bluish gray color. Give her a pink straw. A little darker. Oh, they're making another Futurama season. Honestly, I liked how it ended when they brought it back the first time, because they basically just made it so that it would continue on in a loop. So it'll be interesting to see if they like incorporate that into the story, where they like break out of the loop or something. So that would be interesting to see what they do with that. They're bringing back King of the Hill too. King of the Hill is interesting because it has the ability to continue on without any real repercussions, because there was never like anything critical going on in that series, and it wasn't like cartoonish to the point where like random shit would happen the way Family Guy and The Simpsons are. It was like a lot more grounded. I will say the only thing that threw me off with the original King of the Hill run was Luann hooking up with Lucky. I'll say that's like the only thing that threw me off out of the entire run. But other than that, yeah, I think that should be fine. Shouldn't have too many issues with King of the Hill. Yeah, I don't think I'd watch. I mean, I'll probably jump in every once in a while to see what's up with the new one, with the new season. But I think Futurama was fine as it was when it came back and ended again. But you know, they got Disney money now, so who knows? And if it's good, it's good. Like, I'm not gonna complain if it's good. Was it necessary? Probably not. But if it's good, then more material. There we go. Alright, what should be written on Blake's shirt? Like Big Bun or Chubby Bunny? Big Burger's logo? Yeah, I could see her having a Big Burgers logo. Like they've given her a T-shirt at this point, and it does tie into to what I was gonna have her dialogue say. So yeah, we can do that. So let me just change this. Where are you? No. Maybe. That's normally what I'd be using, but I might go for a more stylized thing. So yeah, I think this one's gonna be better. We'll just change the color. Yellow. Rasterize. Then change this to bright red. There we go. And then we'll rasterize this. Make a copy of it and put it in on the shopping bag. No, tweak it to fit. Transform, mesh. Kind of just curve it to whatever the hell I think looks good. Kind of stretched out from packing it all. I'm stuffing it silly with food. There we go. And then for her top, bits. Curved because of her boobs. Next song, let me go back to the list. Let's grab. Let's do this one. It's hard to tell which ones I've clicked on since I'm using a new computer now. But I know this song has shown up in like several playlists, so. Okay. Let's give her big old Big Burger's B on her boobs. Ah, the big bun has a B on her boobs. Yay. The big bun B on boobs. Ah. Big booba. Ah. I'm just talking now. Put a small Z. Could do that. It's not on on Tiffany's bags, but whatever. Can always say they changed their logos or something. But yeah, we can do that. Today's Big Bun is brought to you by the letter. Should be around here. Gothic. A little small. Hooray, we're ruining continuity. There was no continuity. I only brought up Tiffany just because hers didn't have it. But I guess since there's no continuity, I shouldn't have even said anything. I was like, alright. Should have just shut my mouth being like, yeah, you're right, let's do this. Won't be as prominent compared to the B. And just change it up a bit. Now it's forever burned in our minds. Is my fault. Only downside to this is that this wasn't planned. So it might just do just enough to make it fit. Because if this was planned, then I could incorporate it into the B a lot easier. Clean these little spots up. That should be fine though. We'll just put these two together. Let's see how did I do it from here. Probably shrink it just a little bit. There we go. No, it's not too fancy. Put them together. Okay, so she's pretty much done being colored, so we can move on to the next part. Does this burger joint have a mascot? No, it currently does not. Maybe I'll in the future I'll make like an event or something where people decide who the mascot will be, and then also decide how big the mascot gets. No, no, no. It should be another weight gain drive, but the drive the size is the cannon size of the mascot. And like at first the mascot is just like thin and all that, like they got a new job. And then over the course of the drive decides how big how the character gets or something. I don't know. Or, could always just do it the way I'm doing it now, but just, make it canon that their mascot is some big monstrosity. We'll see, because like it'll either be there's a set size and it's just based off of the drive, or the drive, like the numbers decide how big the character actually is. And probably have to put a time limit on that and put like goalposts, so it's like, I don't know, because like I don't want to just say, okay, at 200 then the character is canonically 200 pounds or whatever, because obviously if we want bigger numbers, then I guess a time limit would just have to be the point. And I guess if it reaches certain milestones, then I'll update with like a picture. I'll have to think about it more. But yeah, that could be a thing where somebody gets hired to be the mascot, but then like working at the place gets them fatter. Could do something like that. Just don't make it a clown. I promise nothing. What if it was a sexy clown? Maybe I'll make it like a big voting event, like people decide if it's male or female or whatever. I'll have to think about that more. Like male or female, then then vote on the animal, and then like the gimmick, like is it a clown or something, and then go from there. It's like it's a dinosaur. I don't know. Big Burger's dinosaur. Or Big Burger's bear. Or boar. I don't know. I'm just talking at this point. Yeah, we'll see. Let me just clear my plate first before I tackle any more projects. And I've also sent a message to the person who donated the big chunk to the drive. And I just let them know, it's like, hey, if you want me to give you a shout out or something, hit me up. Like I asked them what name they'd want me to use if that was the case. So, up in the air on if they'll contact me. Could even have like the owner of Big Burgers come down and be like, brought to you by, or at the end of the mascot drive or whatever, the owner of or one of the managers should show up and like and should say like brought and here's our brand new mascot, and it shows the mascot after working for them for a while now, and they're just fucking huge at this point because they've eaten so much Big Burgers that they're just fucking massive. And like they're still wearing like the mascot outfit, but they're like clearly obese at this point, and like the costume is just completely stretched out and probably tearing in some areas, but it's still like maintaining the illusion that this is the character. Kind of like that fat pig from Invader Zim. I forget his name, but yeah, kind of like that, where it's just like a giant fat guy that's inside of it. Yeah, so maybe that's it. Like in the beginning, the character was just like really thin or whatever, working, but then after they constantly kept getting or having to eat the big burgers and all that, and maybe like just not being able to have enough time to get like normal food, they just resorted to just keep eating big burgers the entire fucking time. This has to be a thing now. Yeah, it probably will be at this point. Shit. Maybe that will be the next drive. Deciding Big Burgers as mascot. And have the manager show up as part of the canon. She's like, sales are down, and we need to entice our audience more, and that's where they get the mascot idea, and then someone gets hired. Maybe I'll make like a short comic out of it or something. I don't know. Like each of the drive goals are a comic page or something. I don't know. We'll see. I think it might be better if I just made it a side comic. But I'll probably, I don't know. Like I said, I'll think about it more once I have more free time. So it might be the next drive thing. Giant fat mascot groaning on the couch. Even fatter guy flops out. Yeah, exactly, from Veteruscy. For some reason, the mascot boss fight from Dead Rising pops in my head. Wabbit blubber. Thank you. But yeah, that'd be a fun little thing. Like whoever gets hired was like in high spirits in the beginning, and then at the very end they're just a fat mess. They can barely move, and they're just like, come to Big Burgers, and you can sit on my lap or whatever nonsense they have the characters say. It's like, if you're the first person to show up, no, not even first. They'll say something like, if you eat or do our Big Burgers challenge, you can get free burgers or something. Like, I don't know. Like, they put some like weird contest bullshit. And I don't know, Blake and Tiffany see the ad and they're like, bit free burgers, and they try to get out of their house or apartment or whatever, and they're too fucking huge to fucking move anymore. I don't know, I'm just talking. I'm just rambling on at this point. I have no idea if I would make any of this happen, but now I'm just overthinking. See, this is what happens when you get me on a good idea and then I just start rambling, just like the Church of Thick, which is also a good idea, and we are definitely going to do that. Yeah, if I keep it realistic, then yeah, it's like somebody tries to win the contest and their stomach is huge and they have to be wheeled out. It's like, oh, another contestant fails and they get wheeled out, and it's like the last however many characters are there. I don't know. Like I said, I'm just rambling at this point until something actually happens. This is how I brainstorm for my comics. I just ramble on until something sounds cool. Or in the other cases where, okay, I'm going to draw this secondary background character who's not the main character and it has very little importance to the story, and then suddenly make them like a major character, and now they have this fucking big ass lore. Looking at you, Blake, and looking at you, Emerald. And I guess Tiffany now, to a degree. Big fat cheeks. Full of fat blobs. Nah. In other continuities and spin-offs, probably. I mean, I'm not gonna not draw fat characters, but I definitely want to do other stuff like eggs or aliens or tentacles or whatever else comes into my mad mind. Or I'm in the mood for something. It's like wake up in the morning. It's like, you know what? I want to draw slime. I want to draw a slime character going and inserting themselves into places. Let's just do this. Like a character goes to like a spa, but they don't realize that the spa is run by slimes, and they get a more intimate massage. There you go. This is how good ideas become great ideas. Is Tiffany going to get Fat Valley in Volume 3? No. No, she will not. I mean, if I count a certain thing, then technically she'll get a big belly. But that is not the initial. But her being fat is not the initial goal. I mean, honestly, at this point, I might as well just say what I'm going to do, because there's only like 7 of you watching this anyway. So yeah, this will be information for those who watch my streams. Yay! So in I Had 3, I'm not going to say everything, but in I Had 3, you are most likely going to see a pregnant Tiffany. What is the context behind that? I will not say for now. Maybe I'll say another stream. Who knows? There, now you have to tune into my streams to find out if I say anything. There, that's all you get about Tiffany. Luckily for me, it'll be a while before we tackle that comic, so you guys will probably forget. Maybe like 2 of you will remember. Watch one of you writes this down just so you don't forget. It's like SpongeBob and Patrick, like, write that down, write that down. Like, you'll write it down and save it somewhere, but then you'll forget that you even did all that, and you'll be like still surprised when it happens. Like, oh my god, and like wait, and you'll be like, wait a minute, and you'll go find your notes and you find it. You're like, oh my god, I wrote this down a year ago. Assuming that's how long it takes to get to that point, which it probably will at this rate. Since so many setbacks had happened. But that's the journey that we're taking. Hopefully Emerald and Andy will keep you occupied. And I guess Caitlin. And whatever other spin-off I do in between. And then there's always Joanne and her Vor gimmick. And maybe later down the line we'll revisit Marcy and Skylar. Probably do the comic where they meet the parents. So it'll be a younger Skylar and Marcy. Still love Tiffany though. Yeah, Tiffany's fun. She's fun in both iterations. The neutral version and the true ending version. Part of me is like, why am I darkening these parts? It's like, Blake is already dark. This is basically shading over shading. But some parts of this need the shading, so I'm still doing it. But yeah, there's a number of characters that I want to show off still. I just gotta pick up the pace. Things will be a lot easier to do once this month is over. And once I'm done with the commissions. Yeah, I'll likely do Plum's comic after one of the other comics are done. So either Black Circus or I Hat Finish, whichever one. If I have time to do it on the side, then I will. So like, if I decide not to do like a side comic, then I can have Creamfield take that spot. I know, new idea joins the queue. Yeah, it's gonna... That's always gonna happen. I'm gonna come up with all these ideas. Some of them I write down because I don't want to forget them. Other ones are too easy to remember. Have you had the idea to do the way you drives? Because you're not into pregnant. Yeah, I mean, like I said, obviously I can't make everyone happy, so that's why I like to venture into different things anyway, just to spice things up. So if you like it, you like it. If you don't, that's perfectly fine. I'm 100% fine if you don't like something that I do. Well hung. That she is. I think you guys might like the idea I have for Plum. I was going through like multiple ideas, and now I've settled on a decent one that I like. So when her time comes, I think you'll have a good time with that. Technically, this would be covered in shadow, but fuck it. I don't know. I mean, I can always just cover it in shadow. It's not gonna matter. Say up. Her tail's in shadow, yeah. And if I want to brighten it up, I can. I need to make more cards. Because I still need to make the cream-filled card set. But fuck you say. Yeah, think of redoing the art of the Royal Arcana that Jolly has. Give them a more updated look. That's what I'm thinking, at least. I might not do it. I might just keep the artwork that I have. But I definitely want to get the cream-filled cards made. Especially since I'm using the newer look for the cards, so I gotta redo some of the effects. And use the card that Kiwi has from her comic, or from the special. Well, luckily she's in a position where she can manipulate physics and stuff. So characters getting conflated is pretty, or can be easily done with her, but it's not normally a regular thing. To a degree, like some characters can be inflated with cum and all that, but I do have to keep certain things grounded, or else it just doesn't make sense. But I don't know. There's like some suspension of disbelief here and there, but I try to keep it grounded. But characters like the Creamfield cast, they can do pretty much anything, so this doesn't entirely apply to them. But I try to balance it out with what the characters are allowed to do. And then there's like other characters that have like magic and special abilities and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm gonna do a lot. I just need to finish up the remaining commissions, which will open up more time. Do the... Today is Wednesday, right? Yes, today's Wednesday. So I need to work on the Fat Lovers Club pics that are going to be used for Mother's Day. That were from March, I believe. No, I think they were April. Because that was when my computer died and all that stuff. So gotta do all that. And then once those are done, then I only have to worry about smaller stuff. And then next month will be the last month that we'll be doing voting on Patreon and all that, because it just takes up way too much time to get through. Because like when I'm going through the pictures of like what people want me to draw, sometimes I can't save the pictures properly because they're in some weird state where they won't save as JPEGs, so I have to, or PNGs, and I have to change their extension to what I want it to be. And then because I did that, it won't work when I put them into like Photoshop or Clip Studio or whatever art program that I try to use, because of the weird formatting. So I have to like save copies of the pictures that I already saved just so I can use them to make the poll stuff. And then I gotta set up the poll stuff. And it all just takes too much time. And then there's, you know, the chances of reoccurring characters constantly appearing and possibly outvoting other potential characters. So I think it's just better that I pick them myself and just go with it. The banana from Charlotte's Web. Maybe. I mean, maybe not in that way, but you can always make a banana be a card. Or whatever other food. But yeah, there's a lot I want to do. I just gotta make some time. But I think things will get easier once this month is over. That reminds me, I do want to do another character thing. But I also want to work on the cream-filled art set. So I'll probably do that first, since I'm already in the middle of it. Because I need to do watermelon. Because it's watermelon, grape, and whoever the hell is after grape. Think it's banana. Let me check. No, I need to check. No, it's coconut. What did you five? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so lemon, lime, strawberry, watermelon, grape, and coconut. Coconut will be fun because she'll just be lactating, having milky titties. She'll be fun. And then the next set after that will have apple cider and the others. And that's another thing, I do want to draw my characters in more risque situations, because I feel I've been lacking in that as of late. So I might ask around to see what people normally look at to get a better idea. I mean, I probably have more than a fucking reference to figure that out, so probably not. I don't know. Yeah, honestly, my rewards. Yeah. I'm just gonna adjust things to make things easier. So I might adjust on how many Fat Lovers Club picks get made. If I have enough time for the two, which I probably will, then I'll do so. But like, waiting for all the voting stuff definitely hinders time, and I'd rather just get it done as quickly as I can. So we'll try it by just no voting. But if I need to adjust how many picks come out, then I will. So we'll do baby steps, because I definitely want to put more time into comics. And that's what's gonna also change how I do commissions, assuming I open again in the future. If I do, then it's gonna purely be an auction thing, because the time is valuable at this point. And that's assuming I even open at all, because this time wasn't awful or anything, but I think I just needed to not tackle so many. But I did. And it wasn't even how many commissions I did. It was just, I think I was just tapped out of doing commissions in general, because like none of the commissions were bad. It just kind of reminded me why I didn't want to do them anymore in the first place. So now I'm just like, okay, I think I'm done with commissions at this point. So once I'm done with the ones I'm doing, I think that's going to be it, unless I open for like a very rare occasion. And if I do, it'll likely be a auction. And then I'll probably tackle on some or put on like special features depending on how much money it makes or something. Hope I picked Tiffany. I will probably lean away from my own characters, at least for a while. Maybe I'll put them in every once in a while. But the idea is to get other characters into the forefront. And then I'm more likely to pick characters that don't really get to see a lot of content. That's my initial plan though. But I mean, nothing's stopping me from drawing my own characters or whoever else. Like if I want to draw Fat Luna or Fat Roxanne, then I will. Or Fat Crystal. But if I feel they've been appearing too much, then I'll try to look for somebody lesser known. Like Fluffy from Johnny Bravo. Don't see much content of her. Yeah, and same for me. I'm more driven by the comics, so I'll try not to let the art sets and all that overtake what I've been doing. So I'm gonna put more time in the comics. And then once I get a chance, I'm gonna talk about the differences between secrets and archives and where they will be going. Okay, so I think we're good on that. Kate from Alpha and Omega. No, I haven't drawn them yet. I like the first Alpha and Omega. The rest after that were just like, why? Especially when you can tell they took a shit on the animation. It was just like, okay, now they just look like lifeless dolls. And that's always happened with like certain series where the first movie looks like there was heart in it, and then after that, when they try to pump them out, then it's just like, okay, these are shit. And that happens with a lot of CG shows and movies. Especially if we were trying to make a show with CG, because then some of the animation gets really stiff. Or that one, or like if you watch Sonic Prime, because it's being made as a show, they'll do that weird thing where every movement the characters do, they make them like squishy and bouncy. Like they'll jump to every reaction that they're talking. So like they'll be having like a regular conversation, but you'll constantly see them duck down, close their eyes, and then have a big stretchy upwards movement every time they're like looking in a direction. And granted, sometimes you do that when you're having normal movement, but they like super exaggerate it, and they do it all the time. And this happens like it's not just in Sonic Prime; it's in like other 3D cartoon or TV shows, but they do that all the time. And make Rouge's boobs small. Yeah, she did lose her chest puppies. I mean, they're still there, but they're definitely smaller. It's like, damn you to hell. Honestly, I just boil it down to this is just an alternate version of Rouge. since that's what Sonic Prime is about anyway. It's about alternate dimensions. So just boil that down to being an alternate Rouge that just has smaller boobs. And like, Shadow makes zero sense when it comes to how he operates in Sonic's lore at the moment. Because once you get past his initial story, the rest of it is just kind of like, okay, so why is he considered Sonic's rival? It seems like the only time they ever have any real conflict is when there's like a misunderstanding, and that's it. They're not like actively trying to best each other. Well, they're not pancakes, but they're definitely more like milk duds. No, they're bigger than that. More like snowballs, like the donut. She just has snowballs for boobs now. But yeah, like, I feel Shadow has like very little relevance to the series because he doesn't have anything to really do. Like, Knuckles makes more sense as like a rival character because, you know, they butt heads quite often when it comes to just normal conversation, whereas Shadow only interacts with Sonic when he actually has to, whereas Knuckles will go out of his way to actually interact with Sonic. Like, Knuckles makes way more sense as a rival character. But even then, it's not like the two are enemies or anything. Like, if I had to go by enemy-wise, then Metal Sonic obviously makes them the better choice. I do like how Metal Sonic is portrayed in the comics because it shows that he's at least thinking on his own. And aside from like the whole Neo Metal thing, he's been shown to like consider other options of things, or like when Sonic got infected with the metal virus, and Metal Sonic was tried to infect himself so he could be like Sonic, but it didn't work because he's already a machine. And then him listening to Bell for a moment was interesting, and Sonic does bring it up, but Metal doesn't do anything to show any further thought of it at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see how Metal Sonic develops in the comics. And it'll be more interesting to see if the games incorporate the comics more. So hopefully the next game, or even like the next story part that they add to the to Frontiers, cover some of that. Yeah, like Metal Sonic ends up acting on his own, and then in the comics they do that same scenario to a degree, but Robotnik fixes it by making sure Metal can't disobey him anymore. But like, they never really explained why Metal did all that. I mean, aside from, you know, trying to beat Sonic, but it's like he just kind of went out of his way to lock up Dr. Robotnik, and they never really expanded on that. It was just more like, oh, Metal Sonic took over, and he just suddenly had liquid metal powers. So it was kind of weird. It wasn't bad, but it was just more like a head scratcher. It was more like you feel like you're missing some context. And yeah, it's like obvious where it's like, okay, Metal Sonic, you know, try to do things his own way, sure. But I feel like there was something else like beforehand to better explain all that. And then that was also the game where they introduced the whole Shadow clones thing. And that Shadow was dead. And then they later on retconned that with Shadow the Hedgehog game. They did use the clones in the comics where the Shadow clones killed Whisper's friends. And so Whisper has a bit of PTSD when she's around Shadow, and she knows that it's the real Shadow wasn't the one that did all that, but she has has to calm herself down around him. Because on one end she wants to kill him, but she knows he's not at fault. And so far in the comics, Whisper's been shown to like want to kill a character at least 2 or 3 times. And she's almost succeeded. So I'm very curious on if she's actually gonna off a character at some point. Blake is now purple. Yeah, it's just the shading that I'm using, and I'll change it once I get all the light areas erased. Yeah, I do this for all of the pics nowadays. I should ask Ian that the next time he does another podcast. I'll be like, hey, Whisper's been shown to almost off a character multiple times. Is she actually going to do it? I mean, their answer's probably going to be no, because Sega probably won't allow death. I mean, there's a slight chance, who knows? But I would probably think the answer would be no. If I had to take a wild guess. Which is weird though, because they've introduced death a little bit in the series, but who knows? They might just shy away from it. Sigma form for Mega Man. Yeah. Like Metal Madness or Metal Overlord was alright. Wasn't really. It reminded me more of that Red Metal Sonic. I forget, or Titan Metal Sonic. Reminded me more of that. But yeah, like Sonic Heroes wasn't a bad game. It was just like a okay game. Wasn't like the greatest thing I ever played. But it's definitely, I would say it's better than Shadow the Hedgehog. But it's like, it was made within the same timeline, like the same era of Sonic games at that time. But Adventure and Adventure 2 are still the better 3D Sonic games. I'll say Frontiers is like a good third. Because it's really up there with what they are capable of. Is they just need to polish it up more and expand on it and give them a fucking budget. It's like, it's fucking Sonic the Hedgehog. That should be your fucking breadwinner. I mean, it is, but they don't treat him that way. Has Whisper always been popular? Oh yeah, she's definitely a popular character at this point, especially since they often pair her up with Tangle. And I don't think I don't think they'll ever do this in the comic, but it's implied that her and Tangle are in a relationship. They probably won't directly show anything or imply anything, but or not imply, but like show like them doing anything on screen or anything like that. But it's implied that they're in a relationship. But she's definitely popular because she's like very soft spoken. She's almost like the Fluttershy of Sonic, but she uses a fucking sniper rifle and has wisp powers. And she's a reference of Sniper Wolf from Metal Gear. So she's a very fun character. Yeah, it's just like Fluttershy. She has a gun. Just like Fluttershy will snap a bear's neck. I always show that scene to people who are like, "Oh, you're watching My Little Pony? Isn't that silly or for kids or whatever?" And so I just show them the scene where Fluttershy snaps a bear's neck. And I either leave it at that, or I also show the scene where Twilight Sparkle fights what was his name? Tyrion or Tyrick? I showed those two scenes, and they're like, "Wait, this is My Little Pony?" I'm like, "Yep." And that like immediately makes them interested and then shuts them up at the same time. Like, I know they won't go out of their way to watch it, but at least makes them think about, okay, obviously this is not what I thought it was. I do like that one meme of Cream the Rabbit holding a gun at I think it was Shadow. It was either Shadow or Sonic, but they have her in the pose that of Rebecca from Cyberpunk, and I always found it funny. I was like, yeah, I could totally see Shadow teaching Cream how to use a gun. And then I also like that parody of Sonic X, where Chris is talking shit on having parents and stuff like that, and Cream is sitting there, or well, she's pretending to be a doll, but like she's sitting there listening to him say all this shit, and in her mind it goes to her mom saying like, "Remember, dear, always if you have nothing good to say, then don't say it at all," or whatever. And then she's like, "But if anyone's talking shit on your mom, then you go ham. You give them no mercy." So I could totally see Vanilla encouraging Cream to be a little bit brutal when it comes to certain aspects or certain situations. And then Shadow just teaches her how to use a gun because he's like, well, we should make her be able to protect herself. Teach her how to use a gun. Shadow, she's like 6 maybe now since they got rid of ages, and he's like, even more reason for her to learn how to use a gun. I could totally see that happening. It's like, Shadow, yes, did you just teach a little girl how to use a gun? Yeah. What's your point? Okay, should be good there. Have I ever played Resident Evil? Oh yeah, Resident Evil has a lot of fucked up shit. Especially with like the newer games that kind of explain a little bit more. With some of the older games, like lore on how shit happened. Especially with Resident Evil 2, with all that shit being Leon's first day, I'm just like, Jesus. All that was your first day, it's one hell of a first day. It's like, goddamn. And then the whole Joel sandwich thing from Resident Evil 1. Resident Evil 1 remake was really good for the GameCube. The GameCube. The GameCube was a magical time. It's like, not only can I carry my game system anywhere with ease, but I can beat the living shit out of somebody with it. And it can survive a 2 or 3 story drop. But yeah, if there was 2 things I would like to see from the Sonic series, it would be, 1, tie it more in with the comics, so that way they're not 2 separate things, which I think they're already doing right now. And then 2nd, bring back the fucking Freedom Fighters. Like, come on. That's pretty basically it. Yeah, they might have to change a few things around, but definitely bring them back in. Oh yeah, Mario Sunshine was fun. The only thing I hated about Mario Sunshine was that Yoshi dies in water. Like, that was the stupidest thing ever. Apparently there's like a mod game that someone's making that's like remaking the game and adding in like more content and stuff, and they have it so that Yoshi can swim. But it was like so weird because I'm like, you live in the fucking tropics, why can't you swim? This is like literally your thing. You've had this since Mario World. It's like such a weird choice of mechanics for Yoshi. That and having Yoshi vomit juice. I mean, obviously he's done something similar with the other items that he's had throughout the games, but it was just kind of a weird choice. They could have just had him shoot something else out, like fire, like an energy or whatever. Like, it's not I'm not 100% against it, but it was just like an odd choice. But definitely the whole Yoshi can't swim thing, that was the only thing that really pissed me off, honestly. I was just like, why? Other than that, though, I had a hell of a lot of fun playing that game. Played the hell out of that game, shit. Still have it. As well as my Dreamcast. I mean, he swam in the Super Nintendo games, and back then he just had he was just using like his feet for the most part, so he could probably just dog paddle. And he's got a big nose, it'll keep him afloat. I don't know. I'm just going off of how he was in Super Nintendo. It's like he can clearly swim, so I don't know why they made it so that he couldn't swim. You know what would have been better? I think. I mean, for all I know, this probably was explained in the game. I'll just have to like revisit the lore. But they could have said that the Yoshis were well, yeah, you could turn into a 7-odd, but if for Mario Sunshine, they could say that the Yoshis were made from paint. Like, they could have made that excuse. And that would explain why Yoshi can't touch water, because he'll disappear in the water. But they never did that. They just made it look like Yoshi's egg was a natural thing on the island, and it wasn't related to paint at all. So I think that would have explained it better had they have done that. Oh yeah, that transformation thing was weird. Because he turned into a helicopter, a submarine, a car, I think. If I remember right. I think he turned into a car. Oh, he turned into a train too? I like vaguely remember. I don't know if they added in more stuff to like the DS version. But yeah, he turned into a bunch of shit. All while dealing with a screaming baby the entire fucking time, so gotta give him credit. And yet, in Mario Sunshine, they make it so that Yoshi can't swim. I'm like, this is bullshit. It's like, I know damn well this tropical dinosaur can fucking swim. Well, he's a dragon, technically, but yeah. That's why his name was Super Dragon Yoshi. And why his final smash in Smash Brawl and I believe 4 was Super Dragon. Me and my mountain of useless information. I still wonder why the cat from Ruby had a fucking beam attack. It's like, hey, I'm here to help people figure or find their way or whatever by inserting some of my heart into them. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. Why do you have beam powers and transform into a giant beast? Why are you able to do that? High school jobs? Oh, I could totally see them working at like part-time jobs at like, I don't know, a coffee place or a fast food place. Stacy works at a card game shop or a card shop, so there's that. Could see Skylar working for his parents until he gets finds his own way. Yeah, I know it was plot, and that's the problem with Ruby nowadays is that they're more focused on trying to be flashy, even though they're kind of failing in that area too, because nothing really happened. Like their current fight scenes are nowhere near as good as the old ones, unfortunately, and that's for obvious reasons. But yeah, like they try to make it flashy, but all it really is just some spins here and there, but they're not like technical. And then it boils down to like a big attack. And then they kind of forget their continuity when they're doing the fight scenes, because for during the recent season, Weiss makes a comment that she doesn't have any dust. And she's still able to use abilities that would require her to have dust. And it doesn't make any sense. Oh yes, Big Blake has secured her snack money. But yeah, like that's why the comment, that's why the fans of the show have been saying the recent episode of Ruby is the current canon, because they're starting to notice more and more that the show is ignoring their own lore and continuity at this point, and is just making things worse. And I'm kind of pissed off of what happened with John towards the end, because I was like, okay, this is really good character development, and then they semi-revert that. Not entirely, but we'll see in the next season, I guess, on if they retcon his growth, which I will be very pissed if they did. Oh yeah, it's called Batarang, yeah, of course. Especially the one season where it's like, hey guys, a serial killer has broken out of his shackles. We should probably go catch that guy, right? No. How about we fight each other and then help the serial killer fight each other as well, and then kill the other guy with the serial killer? Well, technically that was the serial killer doing it, but still, it's like, I'm just gonna fight with the serial killer. I'm like, what the fuck kind of logic does this make? Like, that made no goddamn sense. And everybody questioned that. They're like, why the fuck is he helping a serial killer? Like, that right there was a big show of like how fucking idiotic the writers are. It's like if somebody tried to make excuses for that, I was like, alright, explain this. Like, go ahead, try me. I've been paying way too much attention to this goddamn series, so good luck. But I am not a writer, so what do I know? It's like, I'm not a writer, but I've read a shit ton of comics, so... Don't know if that means anything, but here we are. some parts of her. Yeah, exactly. The only part that ticked me off with SpongeBob was where he was clearly an adult in the beginning of the series, but then they like slowly push him towards being a kid, and that didn't make any sense. It's like he's clearly an adult. Why are we treating him like a child? And like they kind of put that in the forefront when the first movie came out, and Mr. Krabs kept referring to him as like a kid. And I'm like, you know, he isn't though. Especially when they do the scene where him and Patrick get drunk on ice cream, and it makes it look like that they're like drunk. They were drunk because like SpongeBob has like a 5 o'clock shadow. So it just made it more confusing where it's like, okay, so you're saying he's a kid, but then you're doing this. So make up your goddamn mind. And then the movie was supposed to be the end of SpongeBob, but then it kept going. I will say the first 5 or so seasons, 4 or 5 seasons, and the movie were like peak SpongeBob. And then the rest is just pretty much milking it. Yeah, that's true with the scallop. That was cute though. It's like 6 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 6 o'clock. And he like comes home at like what, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I like the open up a jar. And he's like, alright, now grab a jar. Patrick, that's a pickle. Yes. SpongeBob's always been a fun time. With the older episodes at least. I haven't watched the new ones. Like I don't know which season I stopped at, but the last one that I feel is good was the one where Squidward became Hanson. And there might be episodes here and there that are probably good, but it's probably not gonna hit the same to me as the older ones. Drunk from eating pickled herring. I don't remember if I saw that one. I'll have to look it up. I do remember the episode where was it Tom? I can't remember if it was Tom or Sylvester, but one of them gets drunk from eating or was that the one, the pickled herring, the with the fish and all that, that one of them eats a ton of and gets drunk. That might be the one that you were talking about. Let's click this one. But yeah, like that little cartoon short was funny. Okay, that was the one. Yeah, okay, I did see that one. That was funny. I still like the Tom and Jerry episode where the duck mom shows up. And back then, they could do whatever the hell they wanted. So when she was in a bra and underwear, they fucking showed it, and I was like, God bless animators back in the day who had the freedom to draw whatever the fuck they wanted, and people didn't bitch. Nowadays, it's like, oh my god, I can't believe they showed this blah 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 on a kids show. I was like, the fuck do you care? It's like, fucking get over it. You folks have a very different image. I have to zoom in from this. Oh yeah, those have been always fun. Character falls into a barrel for like what, 2 seconds, maybe a minute, comes out drunk as fuck. And that's happened with like various characters too, not just them. Like even the Disney characters have done it. Like Donald has done a lot more shit than he gets away with nowadays. It's like they had to nerf everybody. Even Goofy's done a lot. Mickey's been there every once in a while, but they've reserved him more on a lot of aspects. I do like Runaway Brain, where they show Mickey in a more vicious state because of his brain getting swapped with Julius. Is it Julius or Julian? I think it's Julius. Paul Rudish's Mickey Mouse? I'd have to look that up. I don't know if I've seen that. Oh yeah, I like that style. Yeah, that style was great. Yeah, that series is really good. Nobody liked neuter sex in the 40s and 50s. Probably not. But at least they had areas to watch that shit if they wanted to. It's like if you wanted that content, it wasn't like fucking barred off from the ether. I still laugh that a furry cartoon got away with being the first cartoon to have nudity in it. And this was like what, in the 70s, 80s? Hold on, when did that movie come out? And I have it too. Thank God. That movie came out in 72. So, fuck you guys. It's like, we already got our adult cartoon film, so fuck you. And it had sex in it, and it had nudity. Now that movie's like a freaking cult classic. breath of fresh air and surprise turn. Yeah, like I'm glad that that particular version of Mickey has like a lot more to work with, and it allows the characters to kind of just do whatever, and it puts them in like it's like a nice in between modern and classic. Because it's not quite 90s Disney where they were like hella um, um, fleshed out and stylized, and more like on the rougher animation style. But it does fit the modernized look, but it keeps the classic look from the what was it, 60s or whatever. Or actually, he's probably older than that. Jesus, 20s? He was around in the almost 30s? Jesus. He's an old ass character. And now that Steamboat Willie is what's the word I'm looking for? Not free to use. Oh my god, I'm blanking on this word and it's fucking with me now. Or not royalty free, god damn it. Why am I blanking on this word? It's gonna get to me now. Public domain, yes. God damn. That is the word I was looking for. Yeah, Steamboat Willie is open domain. Same thing for Winnie the Pooh. That's why that one horror movie came out. So give it like another 5-ish years and we'll have more Mickey Mouse space stuff that are public domain. Don't you just hate it when you know the answer to something and your brain just decides to turn off? Your brain is just like, hey, I'm gonna go take a break. You'll be alright, right? It just checks out on you. Alright, so I think we're good on this. Final part. Oh, he's doing the voice of Mickey. That's cool. I think I remember seeing a video of him doing that a long ass time ago. Like, I'm talking like Disney, like old school Disney Channel. Back in the day where it was like after 9 o'clock or so, they would just show the wonderful world of color and just show the most random ass stuff. Sometimes you get cartoons, other times you just get random information about history. It's like, oh, this is how centaurs became a thing. I was like, oh, cool. This is what I learned today. Fall asleep to that. Or Goofy demonstrating the do's and don'ts of sports and other activities. Or Donald or Goofy smoking a shit ton of cigars because they're getting kids, or whatever the case may be, or whatever was going on. Or that one episode where Donald's voice becomes fucking... Or no, Donald gets hit in the head and he gets like a different personality, and thus it changes his voice and he becomes like fucking famous. And Daisy is a fucking wreck because he basically ditches her, goes for like other women and stuff, and she goes to like a therapist because she's like thinking of suicide. And then the therapist tells her like, well, if this is what caused his transformation, then you got to repeat it. So she hits him on the head again and he turns back to normal. So that was a thing. My favorite, though, is still the one where Daisy tells Donald not to lose his temper anymore. And he does everything he can to not lose his shit. And they go out to eat, and Goofy is their waiter. And at the end of it, a pea ends up falling into between Daisy's breasts, and Goofy looks at the camera, and you see his eyebrows kind of go up and down. He's like, "Oh, let me get that," and he's about to, reach in and get the pea from her chest, and then other stuff happens. And then Donald finally loses his shit, but Daisy also loses her shit. And Goofy just says like, "Oh, isn't this a lovely couple?" Or he either says that or something like on the lines of like they're meant for each other or something like that. And I'm just like, Jesus. I was like, good old cartoons where they got away with shit like that. Nowadays, somebody would start a little fuss over it. It's like, oh my god, I can't believe they let that pea go between her boobs. I would just be like, yeah, and make your own goddamn cartoon. Yeah, I'll find it and post it on Discord after this. Like, I have the episode saved, because why wouldn't I? It's both of my favorite characters. But yeah, like, Disney did a lot of shit like that. I think that's probably why I'm so bitter about certain cartoons nowadays, because it's like, man, I know what we had, and now we're stuck with, like, watered-down baby shit. I should probably save. There we go. It's like, back in my day, cartoon characters could do whatever the fuck they wanted. You wanted an episode where someone was stuck outside their house naked? Bam, Rocko's Modern Life. You wanted shenanigans between a cat and a mouse trying to kill each other and slice each other in half and blow each other up? Tom and Jerry and what is it called? Mises and Mises or something like that. I always forget the title of their show, but it was like the red cat with the two mice. Or you can have Sylvester and Tweety. They did this similar shit too. Like, you had options back then. Like, even creativity with like, what, we don't want the Joker to kill anybody? Okay, we'll give him Joker venom, where victims get a giant grin on their face and basically become comatose or die from it without actually saying that they're dead. I'm like, that's kind of worse, actually. That was actually really worse. Dying that way is like, damn. Alright, take care. Have a good day at work. I'll probably be working on this for another half an hour or so. Drive safely. Oh, thank you. I know. Earn that raise. Boss will be like, okay, you've been working here for a long time. Explain to me why I should give you a raise. It's like, sir, I like fat bitches. And he just gets up, walks over to you, grabs your hand, shakes it, and he's like, my man. There you go, you get a raise. Oh my god, if that worked, I would know what to say. I'd be like, holy shit, that actually worked. And at the same time, be like, man, boss is a man of culture. It's kind of like that one scene from Ted, where he was just talking shit on the employer, and the employer hired him. Like, it was the first time anyone's ever spoken to me that way. You're hired. I would have been like, what? Alright. Let's make some parts of her a little shiny, but not by too much. These can be a little shiny because they're plastic. Dumb that down. Do a little bit on her nails. Okay, Blake is pretty much done. Now I just have to put her in a decent background and put some dialogue. No, I'm probably not going to start the next one yet. I'll probably move on to working on other things off stream. Haven't decided yet if the fourth one's going to be lewd. Probably not. It might be borderline. It might be close to it though. But we'll see where I go with it. But the last one's definitely going to be lewd. Alright. Do I have a background for this? Not awful, but I don't think I want to use that. Maybe. That'll be a backup. up. Food courts. These aren't bad, but I don't know if they're what I'm looking for. Hold on, let me look at this one. Nah. I think I'll just go with the one I have. And if I feel like adding in a crowd, then I can. The game Shadow Man? Probably not. Let me take a look real quick. Shadow Man game. Nope. Haven't. I might have seen this cover before, but I don't think I've ever. But I'm pretty sure. But I've never played it. Blah. Like I've probably seen it, but I've never played it. Looks interesting though. I'll have to take a look at some YouTube videos to see how it plays and all that. Okay, so we're gonna use this pick. And it's not supported. Yay, that means I gotta do it this way. Slightly shrink it, save as a copy. Pics. Number 2. Let's try this again. Aha! See, that is dumb that I have to do it that way, but at least I can get it to work. Move it over. Make this hell of a lot bigger, because that makes fucking Blake look like a goddamn giant. He's like, bitch, you're not that tall. Maybe a little bit bigger. Right about here is fine. This might take a moment for it to render, because I made that picture so huge. So in the meantime, while I'm waiting for this to render out, hope everyone's enjoying the stream. Getting closer to finishing this off. Yay, finish fast because this is my new computer. My new computer is awesome. Okay, blur the shit out of this background. Might have to blur it more because that's kind of grainy over there. Might have to bump it to 100. Maybe not 100. Let's try 70. See where this goes. I don't think I saw much of a difference. Try 80. 80 should be fine. Based on the comic of the same name. That's cool. And don't need this anymore. Time to steal from this. Might change the angle though. Up the color. There we go. Okay, all that's left is the dialogue. I can probably copy most of these over and just change it as we go. I'm not going to say a specific time, I'm just going to say months later. I can shrink down this text a little bit, like 18. I think I'll shrink this down just a little bit more. I think I'm just gonna move it over, just so it's further away from her. Okay, I was like, why is this not moving? Oh. Somehow I clicked on the wrong thing. Let's put those over here. I might have to reposition where these are. Then again, there's always going to be the version that doesn't have the... It doesn't have the text, so it should be alright. Yeah, let me think about how I'm going to reposition these. It's just taking up a lot of space, so... you know what, I'm just going to leave it. I'll just move this one over a bit. You know what, let's see if I can move her down a bit. Now the problem arises from this part. But luckily, we know what we did, so... Come on. This part did not need to move. I'll stretch it just in case. This I can delete. This needs to change. Worst case scenario, I just re-import. Yeah, I'm just gonna insert the background. Mostly just concerned about this corner over here. Yeah, that's fine. Alright, now that she's moved down, I can reorganize some of these boxes. Now adjust them. This can either be lowered downwards, or it can go over here. I think I'm gonna go over here, so that way it kind of draws the eye downwards. And then we'll have her tummy growling more. And there's our chunky bunny. Actually, might extend this one out just all the way since we got all that space now. Now highlight other means, so that way she's kind of implying that she's doing other things to get food. Big jiggly bunny booty. Thank you. That way I can move this one up over a bit. Not be so claustrophobic. Move this one up just a little bit. Move this one up just a little bit more too. There we go. Okay. And I'm pretty much gonna call it for now for this stream. I will save out the renders and all that, and then post them. And yeah, I'll get to work on the other one a little later. But I'm gonna probably work on either Fat Lovers Club stuff or more commission stuff. And yeah, thank you everybody for coming. I will stream again tomorrow, or later today technically, since it's midnight now. But yeah, I'll see you guys again soon. Thank you again, and you guys have a good night, and you guys take care. Bye bye.